my crafty friends. It's Julie Creek from Creek Bank Creations. I'm here to share with you today the double box pop-up card that is made to fold flat and ship in a regular A2 envelope, but is dimensional and makes a really cute little fireplace. So we have some new dies here to introduce to you and teach you about. I'm going to teach you how to make the fireplace card, and we have a little special for you at the end. Super glad to be with you today. Hang on tight. I'm going to turn the camera down and show you how to make this fun card. We've got the camera pulled down and we're ready to get started as I teach you how to build the double box pop-up card that folds flat. So it stands up and it's dimensional, but then it'll fold flat and fit in a regular A2 envelope. Now this card starts with our card base called the double box pop-up card, and that is this very large die set here, double box pop-up. We came out with this in the spring. We'll go over the components to that here in a minute. We are using the mini Christmas floral die set. This is new for us. I sized these pieces very small, and you can see they're all up on a plate. And these are designed so that you can use them on a gift tag, or you can use them on your small projects like the spiral pop-up. In this case, we're using that very small evergreen branch or pine branch on the mantle across the top of our card. Mini Christmas floral die set. We will accent the back of our project with the brick stencil. We have a new stamp set out for Christmas called Homespun Christmas. We will be using both the Homespun Christmas die and stamp, and they are sold separately. So we're going to stamp some images and then we're going to die cut some images. Those are both used on the project. And super excited about our new wood grain stamp. This is a complete background stamp, and we are going to use it to stamp our wood beam that goes across the top of our fireplace mantle. And then of course we need a little fire. So this is our new fire die. It is a 5 die set, and it includes the fire that you can cut and layer, and there are very deep marks for embossing for the wood grain on the log. So that is what we're going to put on the inside. Now we are going to use a little bit of ink. I used Catherine Pooler Peppermint Scrub and Spruce for the title, and icing on the cake. You can use whatever inks you have around. We will be using Creek Bank Creations super tacky tape, some purple stencil tape, and Creek Bank Creations J brushes, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So I am going to get the pieces together and let's get started. So when you open your die package, this is what you're going to find. And to make the fireplace double box pop-up, you're going to need this piece, this base piece, and we're going to die cut that. And this does work well if you use some heavier cardstock with it. So you're going to need to cut one of these. And then you're going to need those 2 boxes that go across the front, which is this long panel. And you're going to want to cut 2 of these. And again, some heavier cardstock works better. Now, for this particular card, you are going to need to cut 2 of the circles, and you are going to need this long piece here with the score marks on it. Cut 1 of those. We're just going to use the large scallop for the top of our card today, so we'll be using that right up here in the top. And then this is the stitched background, and you will need to cut 1 of those because we're going to use that on the background. Now you can see that I sized the Merry Christmas stamp from the Homespun Christmas stamp set to fit in the oval, that little mini scalloped oval of the double box pop-up card. So you're going to want to die cut and stamp, or stamp and die cut 1 of those titles so that you have a title piece across the top. So we're ready to get started with our basic construction, and we're going to start with that basic piece that we cut on our white cardstock. And I like to get ink on that just to give it some color. We don't really want any white showing. I've got a really wet ink pad here, so before I go to put it direct to paper, I'm going to tap off first, and then I'm going to pull this on. So I always want to tap off on my paper first. That way I don't get any really dark smudges going on my actual project. Now we're going to ink this on both sides. We just want to get rid of that white and get the color of the background of that fireplace. I am using the Catherine Pooler Peppermint Scrub. You can use a red or whatever color you like. And we're just going to cover this whole thing with some ink. Just want to get a little bit of color down. And then we're going to flip it over and do the same thing on the back. Add some color. Now once I have my front and back done, I want to locate the two long pieces that are in the kit, and I need to die cut those. Sorry, they're not in your kit. You'll have to die cut them. I have a kit because I die cut one already. And then we have the front panel. This is that panel piece, and you'll need to cut one of those. And we are going to use the brick stencil, and we're going to add our brick front to our project. So we will hold those down with some super tacky tape so they don't go anywhere, and then we will do our stencil work. Now you'll notice here when I adhered my pieces down, I lined them up with the grid line, and then when I put my template down, I make sure that my template is lined up on the grid. So this helps me know that everything is secure. I'm going to tape off this edge down here. I am going to have to reposition the stencil to move it down to cover that very bottom edge. I'm going to tap off, and then we're just going to add our bricks to the front of our card and just work our way down. Again, every time I do this, I'm tapping off and then pulling the brush up so that I don't have a blob of ink. We're going to work our way across. I'm going to reline up my stencil and then ink the little bit at the bottom. I really just had a little bit down there that I needed to catch up on. And I'm gonna tape that off just so we make sure we have a clean edge right there. Really just needed that bottom edge. And then let's move over here and get our center panel. We're gonna do the exact same thing, only this time we don't have to worry about lining it up again. We can get it in one shot. So we've got our piece covered there. Got a nice brick pattern going. And if we want to lift this, in the beginning I taped that down with our super tacky tape. So we're just going to put a little Undu on there. That will allow us to lift that off without tearing up our paper or our project. Now, I will tell you that the inside of these little boxes does show. So we are going to put a little bit of ink on the inside of these, on the other side of these boxes, so that they're not white on the inside. So I'm just going to apply a real quick layer of ink here, just so we don't have that white showing on the inside of our card. Now we're ready to put together our basic box. So we are going to fold in the flaps on this larger piece. And anytime we have an angled flap, we know that's where we're going to put adhesive. So we're going to end up adhering that shut. Before we do that, we're going to take our brick fireplace and we're going to put that right there in the background. So I'm using liquid glue. I like to use liquid glue on this card because it takes a lot of bending and folding, and the liquid glue just holds up a little bit better. So there's our background. Now we're going to take and we're going to put adhesive on this flap. And we're going to fold that shut. Make sure it's square. And that is our base card. Now we have those two boxes that go down the front. We're going to fold those on the score line. Both of them. And we're going to adhere them. Before we do that, we are going to add our fire. So set those aside and let's get our fire going. So I've taken the fire die and I've cut 2 logs out of some craft cardstock and I accented those with ink. Then I have an orange flame and a yellow flame. And when I cut these, I have my super tacky tape on the back. So we sell super tacky tape in a 3-inch roll or a 6-inch roll. You unwind it, you put your tape or your paper on it, and then when you die cut, your item is a sticker. So I'm gonna peel the back off of this piece, and it's already a sticker, and I'm going to lay that right in the bottom of the red piece that I've already cut. Now the red one does not have sticky tape on it because we are going to adhere it in a different way. So the red one does not have super tacky tape on the back of it. We're going to take that fire and we're going to slide that right in here. And that is our layered fire that we've built. Show you that close up. Okay. Now, you cut 2 of these circles. I mentioned earlier you need to cut 2 of these circles. And I have cut those and there's a score mark on them. You want to cut them and then fold them on the score, and we're going to put a dot of glue on each side of the half circle, and that is going to be adhered right into the base of our card where we want to put that fire. Okay, so you're adhering it to the bottom. There is no glue on the top. Okay. That is going to give you the ability to adhere your fire in there and make that pop up. Get this so you can see it, so that it's dimensional. A little hard to see from that angle. Okay, so we're going to take our fire and we're going to put a dot of glue on each of the half circles again. And then we are going to put our fire right on top of that. And I want you to see, I have that slightly above the edge because I'm going to go back in and put my wood logs in there. And I want to give room, however you want to do your wood logs, for your wood logs. You just want to make sure that your, actually I'm going to put that long one down and then put that one on top. You're not gluing, you're not adhering the log to the base of that box structure. You're only putting glue on the log so that the log is adhered to the fire because you need that to pop up. Okay, there's your fire. Okay, now I like to adhere the top piece before I move on. So we need to build the beam for the top of this card, and that is going to actually fold flat so that you can ship it, but we need to make the beam. So the first thing you're gonna do is take that wood grain stamp, and we stamped the entire background with brown ink. Then we're going to cut that down so that it's 3.25 inches, 3.5 inches long. So I'm gonna trim this edge off and get a clean edge. And we're going to be at 3.5 inches long. And we're gonna be 2.5 inches wide. And when we cut that, we're gonna cut it really close, right there. Okay, so it's 3.5 inches long, 2.5 inches wide. And we're going to take that piece and we are just gonna add a little brown ink to it just to make it look more like wood. So we're just gonna add a little brown ink to it just to distress it up, because what we have right now is white wood. So we wanna add a little texture, little color to it. And you can decide how light or dark you want your piece of wood. You could also stamp this on brown cardstock or tan cardstock if you wanted to do it that way. That would be another option. We're just inking it up to get rid of some of that color, or to add color. Now we're going to put it up on the scoreboard, and we're going to score every ½ inch. So put it up on your scoreboard, and we're scoring on the long side. And if you're careful, you can kind of work out where you want those beam lines. We're going to go every ½ inch. And that is going to give us our basic beam. We're going to fold that on the fold lines. And that is going to give us that beam that we need. So fold it into your square, and then we're going to add the liquid glue right along that edge. And we're going to glue that. You know what? Before I glue that, I see here, let me wipe it off. I want to add a little brown ink to this inside edge. That edge tends to show. So before we glue it shut, let's add a little ink. Okay, let's try that again. Ink adhesive. And then we're gonna fold that around. That's gonna give us our beam for the top of our fireplace mantle. And you can see it'll fold flat, but it'll be dimensional for us. Now we are going to adhere this is the top connector piece. So we die cut this on lightweight cardstock and then train this folds on the fold lines. And we're going to take this piece right here and we're going to put some adhesive right on there. We're going to center our beam over it and adhere the beam to that piece. So I want to show you what that looks like from the back. This is what that looks like. We're gonna let that dry for a minute, and then we're gonna fold those two flaps in, the little short flaps in. We're going to put adhesive on those little tabs, those little flaps. And we are going to adhere this to the front of our card. So I want to show you what we're working on. We're working on putting that beam on the top. And you can see, you really can't see that connector piece. So we are going to put that on our card. Now, we are going to adhere that beam 1.25 inches down from the top edge of the inside piece. So 1.25 inches from the top edge. Let me get that where you can see it. The top edge of this piece, 1.25 inches. I'm just giving myself a guideline there. And then when we go to adhere that beam, that's where we want to be, because we have to have enough clearance so that the stockings will hang Make sure we got it straight. And that's where we're going, 1 1/4 inches. And there's my beam right there. How fun is that? So that's my beam. And then let's move to go put the box fronts on. So remember, we die cut those earlier and we inked all those up. So we're going to take the side that does not have the brick pattern on it, and we're going to put ink on the tab right here. We're going to slide that tab into the top, and that will be our front box. Pull it down and make sure when you put that on that it's square with the rest of the box. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side. Adhesive right here. And again, this, I like to use the liquid glue because it really stands up well to all the use that this card gets, the pushing and pulling. There we go. Now we have this. Now we're gonna open these flaps up, and we're going to put adhesive on that top flap on the inside where there is no brick pattern, and we're going to tuck it underneath to the inside. Push it forward and make sure everything's lined up. And that's our box. We're gonna do it on the other side. And we just built our fireplace box. Who would have ever guessed you could build a fireplace? Okay, there is your fireplace box, and we're gonna kind of let that sit so that the glue can set. But you can see there's your basic box, and there's your fireplace. Now we're going to accent the top of the beam with that mini floral die set, and we're cutting that very small pine branch right there. And you can see when I made this die, I put these on plates so that they're a little bit easier to die cut with. These are very small parts. So we're gonna cut that little floral branch, that evergreen branch, and I have already put my super tacky tape on the bottom of it, on the back of the paper, so we have a sticker, and we are going to arrange that across our fireplace mantle. I do not have a fireplace in my house. I do have a mantle. So we decided we did not want to spend the money on a fireplace, but I do have a mantle in the sunroom that I like to decorate. That was our meeting in the middle thing. There we go. We're gonna need to overlap those just a little bit. There we go. Got our pine branches going, and I can pull that forward and push that down. Show you what that looks like. There's our little branches on there. We've got our fireplace all set. And now what we're going to do, I've already, I've pre-stamped and colored these pieces. These are the pieces from the Homespun Christmas collection. And I did design these to fit on the front of the double box pop-up. My intention was to have packages on the front, and I wasn't planning on making a fireplace. That idea came later, but I did size them to fit on the front. So we're gonna put our packages and such on there, add a little adhesive, stick them on there. So these packages are just really pleasant, easy images to color. I specifically designed these images to be easy to work with, because when you're doing Christmas cards, sometimes you just want some simpler things to color, and these are very simple to color. Stick that on there, get our packages. So you can see they just fit really nice. Slip that in. Liquid glue gives us a little bit of time to manipulate things. Stick our package back here. And then I'm gonna add a little more glue back here. Stick those down. There's our packages. And then we have our stockings. So we're just going to put a dot of glue where those branches are, and then stick our stockings on there very carefully. And you want to make sure that your stocking is clearing the top of the box so that it's not hanging down into the box. I think you can see that clearly. So make sure that if you put it down too far, you'll hit the box. So give yourself plenty of clearance with your stockings. And there you have your fireplace mantle with your stockings. And then you can add, I've already stamped the Merry Christmas with the scallop. That's going right at the top. There's a lot going on up there at the top. Put your Merry Christmas on there. And you just have a really fun card. So I hope you've enjoyed this video on how to turn the double box pop-up into a fireplace and see how easy it is to collapse so that it'll fit in that A2 envelope. So we've used some new products here today. I want to go over, we do have a special that is valid until September the 30th, or if supplies run out. So if something runs out, then we'll have to stop the special. But let's go over the special. The special is that double box pop-up base that we talked about. This big boy. Okay, there's your double box pop-up. The Homespun Christmas stamp and the die. And then the bundle's gonna include the wood grain stamp, the fire die, and the mini floral stamp set, and of course that brick stencil as well. Now, this special will last until September 30th, 2021, or if something runs out, we'll have to turn it off before then. And the total of these items, if you purchase them, would be $104.93. If you purchase them as a bundle, and this will be called the Fireplace bundle, it will be discounted to $83.94. That's a 20% savings for the Fireplace bundle. If you already own some of these things and you just want to purchase a few of these items, you can use coupon code FIRE until September the 30th, 2021, and it will save 15% on your order. The bundle will ship free if you're in the United States, and any orders over $50 will ship free. Thanks for joining me for the card, learning how to make the double box pop-up into a fireplace.